Welcome to Dave C, straight from the pit. Dave C here. I thought for today's show, we could talk about the Super 7 reaction G.I. Joe figures that are scheduled to come out shortly. And just my top 10 ideas of maybe who we might want to have in figure form. Maybe some guys that we missed out on, some different action figures from maybe the Sunbow animated series in the 80s and the Marvel comic run in the 80s. Yeah, so at number 1, I've got Cobra Commander's son, Billy. And I'd like to have him in a Cobra Youth uniform. And have him like he's shown here on this Larry Hama Marvel comic book from the early 80s. It's kind of modeled after the old German youth from World War II. And just kind of switched around with Cobra being the bad guys, of course. And for those who don't know, Billy is Cobra Commander's son, and Major Blood had a plot involving Billy going to kill his father, Cobra Commander. And this is on the cover of a Marvel comic. Number 33, as shown there. I was going to pull it off the wall, like I usually always do, and go through the panels, but as I've been doing that over my last almost 100 videos now, or I guess over 100 videos now on the channel, these comics, they get looser and looser as I do that off of the wall, and I don't want to loosen them up anymore off of little pins. So I'm just going to, I think from now on, kind of rummage through my doubles, perhaps. Or maybe find a different avenue to do that. This Billy here I have displayed is from The Adventure People, which is a 1980s toy. Or rather, it's a 1970s toy that Scuba Pete knows about, one of my friends. He's just a 12-year-old kid in the comic during that time, and I think that would be a cool figure. And just to reiterate, these are going to be O-rings, these Super 7s. They're not going to be the ones that came out that look like Star Wars figures. I was quite disappointed in those, and I did pick a couple up, but I really didn't like the box art. It didn't quite capture the Greedo box art, like the Baroness there and the Destro. And I think for them to be successful, they're going to have kind of an 80s look, and maybe go to more realistic art instead of kind of some cartoony art. Even on the Super 7 packaging, some of them were okay, but a lot of them looked just kind of too cartoony. Whereas you can see here, the old Greedo art, it's pretty unique because for kids' toys, it was still kind of serious. It brought some seriousness to the toy, which I think is a great thing for a military toy, because that's what these were. So I think when they come back and do new O-rings, they should look like that. Like Hasbro did that. They reissued the O-rings, these ones here. And they used the Greedo art, the exact Greedo art in this case, because they have the copyright, of course, because they are Hasbro, the original creators. So yeah, I kind of like to have kind of like a package like this for those. That's pretty similar. And maybe if they can't be exact, at least they could be more accurate to maybe what Hector Greedo would have had he continued on. when you're talking about doing figures like Billy and all the figures that we're going to go through on this video. Coming in at number 2, I've got Billy again, but in his ninja outfit or uniform. It looks very similar to Storm Shadow, as you can see here. And he, of course, joined up with Storm Shadow and the Rashikage clan in Larry's books, and became a prominent member of the G.I. Joe team. So I think that that would be an excellent second choice for a new O-ring figure that we never had. And he could be in a kind of like a shorter form of a figure, because maybe he'd be a little bit shorter, depending on his age at that point. Number 3, I like Quinn. He is the famous Eskimo from G.I. Joe number 2, 1982 book. And pretty much everybody knows him, so I'm not going to talk too much about Quinn, but here he is here in an art drawing in the Order of Battle number 2 book. They made him in the Super 7 style, Star Wars style, and I bought him. I picked him up. Recently got rid of him though, because like I said, it just looks like a Star Wars figure. So it just doesn't go with the O-ring 80s approach in my mind. Number 4, I got Dr. Venom, another character from the Marvel run. And he was Quinn's major enemy. And he kidnapped Snake Eyes and had him trapped in the brainwave scanner, a creation of his. And he's known for that plot. And Quinn and Dr. Venom die at the same time in the Larry books. And he was kind of the predecessor to Dr. Mindbender, we'll say, a later 1986 character. This guy, of course, was more 1982, 83 type character. Next I got Mara, who is Shipwreck's girlfriend on the Sunbow animated series, and even becomes his wife in the Synthoid Conspiracy episode. And Shipwreck rescues her from Cobra, and she was used for testing by Cobra, so she was kind of like a mermaid. And so I think it would be neat if they had a figure created where an accessory could be like a mermaid fin, and you could detach her bottom half to make her a mermaid, and you could also have another bottom half that are just legs, so she could be like a regular O-ring figure plus the mermaid figure. Roadblock's girlfriend Honda Lu from the Sunbow animated series, I think would be a good choice. And then Raven from the Sunbow animated series, that's Slipstream's girl. She's a Cobra Knight Raven pilot. I think that she would be a good figure to have as an O-ring. And next I have Fred Seven, who becomes Cobra Commander, the fake Cobra Commander in Marvel books. And he's a Crimson Guardsman, of course. And I think it would be neat if they had a O-ring where the head comes off, and he looks like Fred from the Marvel run, the guy who shot Cobra Commander in the back. And of course Cobra Commander comes back later and gets his revenge on this guy. But I think that would be a neat figure. Then next, I like Pythona to be made in O-ring. In 87, the 3-pack for Cobra-La included Nemesis Enforcer, Globulus, and the Royal Guard. And here they are here. I had it as a kid, this set. And when I got it, I kind of wondered, where's Pythona? Because on the cartoon, in the movie, she was probably the coolest of the Cobra-La characters. And even though I wasn't a huge fan of Cobra-La, I kind of liked her best. That one scene where she enters the Cobra Terror's room at the beginning with her nails and getting through all the defenses to go talk to Serpentor was just an excellent scene in the movie. Maybe one of the only good scenes in the movie, really. But yeah, so I'd like to have Pythona in an O-ring. And then lastly, at number 10, I'd like to see Buzzer, Ripper, and Torch, maybe sold in a 3-pack. And maybe they could come with bikes, but police bikes, police motorcycles, and they could be the police officers in the cartoon Worlds Without End, part 1 and 2, Sunbow series. It was excellent how that was written. A lot of people think that that was one of the best episodes ever for the G.I. Joe cartoon, a 1985 cartoon. And yeah, they just look really cool in the police uniforms because, of course, they are police officers in the bizarro world of G.I. Joe. And before I go, I just thought I'd throw in all the honorable mentions because, of course, there's going to be more than 10 of these figures that we're all going to want to be made if they're going to be O-rings again to go side by side with our classic 80s O-rings that we all love. And yeah, so I've got Delaney from the animated series, Vietnam Snake Eyes, Tommy and Stalker, Cold Slither, Cadet Deming, Madame Vale, Matthew Burke, that spy, kind of like the James Bond spy guy in the one episode. Starduster, who a lot of us missed out on. We didn't mail away for him, or we didn't even bother getting him because we didn't really even know or care that he was a figure. But now he's just a massively expensive figure that a lot of us didn't get to have. So yeah, Starduster would be a good one, as well as Claymore. He's in the Brazil Special Missions Toys R Us exclusive from 1986. The other guys are all just repaints, like Mainframe and Leatherneck and Wetsuit. But he's a totally different figure. He's his own guy. His name's Claymore. He's not a remake of another figure, or character rather. Laura 343, who's in some of Larry's latest books. She was in the IDW, and I'm looking forward to her being in the Image ones in this continuation. She's a Crimson Guardsman, and she's really cool. As well as Dom Marino, who is in the Larry books, the new Larry books. Scarface from the 82-83 G.I. Joe story in the comic book. Lieutenant Sparks, who's on the Sunbow animated series as a communications officer. Kind of like Breaker, but he never had a figure, so it'd be pretty cool to have Lieutenant Sparks as a figure. The Hard Master, the Soft Master, and Granny. And Granny is one of my favorites in the Hama books, the stories of her, some of the things that she does when some muggers try to rob her, and she, uses her martial arts against them and beats the crap out of them. And just little funny things that Larry had her do in the book. I always kind of admired. And maybe some kind of Games Master and Coco from the Games Master episode. Coco was his little pal, like that little clown guy. And Games Master was this huge gangster type guy that kidnapped people for his wacky games. But yeah, there's just way too many to list. And so those are my top 10 and my honorable mentions, as well as my ideas on the packaging and hopefully what they will look like. Maybe more like a real 1980s G.I. Joe O-Ring figure packaging. And hopefully the paint looks a lot like the 80s ones, because I think that they just couldn't go wrong with that. I think that they would sell a heck of a lot compared to, say, the Super 7s that look like Star Wars guys, and they're not quite up to par with our 1980s G.I. Joe O-Rings. So okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. Until then, Yo Joe.